ජීවිතේ වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන හොඳම දේවල් විඳින්න. දැන් SLT broadband වෙතින් 75% දක්වා වැඩිපුර data සතුට ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම්.
Good evening. Tonight, testing times. Joint opposition hands over the no confidence against the Prime Minister with 55 signatures. Stinging expose. Well-known data research and political consultancy firm Cambridge Analytica exposed over possible influence in elections. Legal experts call for privacy laws including provisions for legal defamation.
You have to change the law. This is also a better provision to protect the people's dignity as well as their fundamental rights.
Shadows revealed. Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne and Ranjit Madhuma Bandara reveals those behind the Kandy unrest. A firm stand. Parliamentarian Athuraliya Ratanathera says that he is ready to take on the government over the latest plan to lift the Glyphosate ban. And in international headlines, extreme measures. Opposition parliamentarians in Kosovo releases tear gas in parliament to prevent a vote. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. From wherever you are in the world, welcome to First at 9, Sri Lanka's premier English news bulletin on Derana 24/7. Hello everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. Tonight we begin by telling you a story about a scandal on the company that received breached information from Facebook. Information has long replaced firearms as the most potent weapon, and billions are invested by countries across the globe to protect information prying eyes. Realizing fears of information being used for manipulation, UK-based Channel 4 News released a video which showed London-based private firm Cambridge Analytica admitting to the use of questionable tactics to discredit politicians and influence elections in several countries around the world. Now, during the expose, the representatives of Channel 4 News used Sri Lankan elections as a lure to get representatives of Cambridge Analytica talking about how they could influence an election of a sovereign state.
On the 17th of March, UK-based Channel 4 News started releasing videos of its 5-part expose into data research and political consultancy firm Cambridge Analytica's efforts to influence political and election outcomes in several countries in the world, including the USA. Following the manifestation, Sri Lankan legal experts demand that privacy laws be instituted, as Sri Lanka was also used in the sting, with the channel's undercover representatives asking the officials of Cambridge Analytica how they would go about influencing elections in Sri Lanka. In the first video, whistleblower Christopher Wiley, who helped set up Cambridge Analytica, alleges that the firm amassed large amounts of data through a personality quiz on Facebook. He claims that data of some 50 million users, mainly in the US, was harvested without their explicit consent via their friend networks. Wiley went on to say that data was sold to Cambridge Analytica, which then used it to psychologically profile people and deliver pro-Trump material with a view to influence the outcome of the 2016 presidential election, and that the firm met with the then White House chief strategist Steve Bannon.
Steve wanted weapons for his culture war. That's what he wanted. And we offered him a way to accomplish what he wanted to do, which was change the culture of America.
This revelation by the whistleblower resulted in Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg being called before a UK parliamentary committee to give evidence about the use of personal data by Cambridge Analytica. Although Facebook denied all allegations, its shares plummeted, with around $50 billion being wiped from its market value. With the recent local authorities election in Sri Lanka yet to be concluded, the Channel 4 News saw an opportunity to dupe Cambridge Analytica and use the island nation's election as a lure to get the firm to admit to questionable tactics they would use to influence elections of a sovereign state. On the 19th of March, that video was released, where it shows Channel 4's investigative reporters meeting with the firm's hierarchy. They posed as fixers for a wealthy client, hoping to get a political candidate elected in Sri Lanka.
To know is what is the expertise of the deep digging that you can do to make sure that the people know the true identity and secrets of these people.
We do a lot more than that. Speak to the incumbents and to offer them a deal that's too good to be true, and make sure that that's video recorded. These sorts of tactics are very effective.
And the operative you will use for this is who?
Well, someone known to us.
Okay, so it is somebody, you won't use a Sri Lankan person, no? Because then there's issue.
We'll have a wealthy developer come in, somebody posing as a wealthy developer.
I'm a master of disguise.
Yes, they will offer a large amount of money to the candidate to finance his campaign in exchange for land, for instance.
Saying when you're using the girls to introduce to the local fellow, and you're using the girls for this like the seduction, they're not local girls, not Sri Lankan girls.
I wouldn't have thought so. They could bring some. I mean, that was just an idea.
Yes.
We could bring some Ukrainians in on holiday with us. You know?
Right.
With various countries rejecting affiliations with Cambridge Analytica, Kenya's ruling party accepted that it paid an affiliate of the firm for branding in the 2017 presidential election. Cambridge Analytica denied all allegations made by Channel 4 News, saying it was humouring the undercover reporters and trying to gauge their motives by actively encouraging them to tease out any unethical or illegal intentions. Meanwhile, First at 9 spoke to former Commissioner of Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission Dr. Pratibha Mahanama on the legal measures required to prevent such an infringement in Sri Lanka. Dr. Mahanama says that the 2007 Computer Crime Act in Sri Lanka gives little provisions to such incidents and acts.
A threat to independence election. And also, this is a violation of data privacy. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka, we don't have privacy laws in the country. United Kingdom, they have 1998 Data Protection Act. Now, if these type of things happen, to whom we are going to complain? We don't have a data protection commission. This is a real damage. They can tarnish the names. First thing, we need privacy laws. Privacy is a fundamental human right, which has to be protected in a future constitution. Based on that, computer privacy, digital privacy, and we need a data protection. Enormous data available. It seems to be persons that politicians image lower in the society, and therefore he has to go for a defamation. I mean, Sri Lanka, if you file a defamation case, you have to find the service provider. Thereafter, you have to find where they have login. And CID is not interested in Sri Lanka. These are private actions. We need to protect in future elections. These type of people are offering services, earn a lot of money. At least digital defamation, you have to change the law. This is also a better provision to protect the people's dignity as well as their fundamental rights.
Here in Sri Lanka, the no-confidence motion prepared by the joint opposition against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was handed over to the Speaker, Karu Jayasuriya, today. The motion, based on 14 factors, was signed by 55 parliamentarians, including a state minister, 2 deputy ministers and a parliamentarian representing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
When Parliament convened at around 1 in the afternoon, the leader of the Joint Opposition Parliamentary Group, MP Dinesh Gunawardena, informed Parliament of the no-confidence motion to be presented against the Prime Minister.
Speaker, I am waiting to hand over a very important document to you at an auspicious time. Can we hand it over to you now or when you go to your office?
Accordingly, parliamentarians led by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa handed over the no-confidence motion to the Speaker at his office. "55 parliamentarians had signed the motion, with State Minister T.B. Ekanayaka, Deputy Ministers Nishantha Muthuhettigama and Susantha Punchinilame, as well as parliamentarian Kadan Maslan among them. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa had however not signed the motion, which included 14 factors alleging that the Prime Minister breached the confidence of Parliament. The Prime Minister is alleged to have taken the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under his ministry with the intention of committing the bond scam, proposed Arjuna Mahindran, a non-Sri Lankan citizen with a disgraceful past, to the position of Governor of Central Bank, attempted to save those who committed the bond scam by appointing the Pitibana Committee with his confidants, misleading a parliament by making a special statement, trying to rectify those responsible for the bond scam when the COPE Committee was investigating the fraud by changing a UNP member and appointing a new member, influencing the COPE Committee on how to act on the committee, directing the Cabinet to give the post of advisor to a Deputy Governor of the Central Bank who was accused by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, giving Arjuna Mahindran a post in his ministry after losing the post in the Central Bank, letting Arjuna Mahindran avoid courts, breaching important acts in the country by taking over powers that were only vested with the Minister of Finance,
It is the parliamentary tradition that a proposal brought against a Prime Minister or a government should be given utmost prominence. We requested the Speaker to consider it of utmost importance and give us the opportunity to take it up for debate and pass it. The JVP has stated to assist the motion. 95 plus 6. There will be 101. We have unofficial sources saying that Tamil National Alliance will refrain from voting. If they do that, we need only 4 votes from the UNP or else 20. By now, 22 parliamentarians of the UNP have offered assistance. Although they offered to sign, we asked them not to as a security measure.
In the meantime, different views were expressed about the no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister today as well.
This no-confidence motion is brought to wash away the sins of the joint opposition. The cases of stealing, corruption and murders are being revealed now. We are not in a position to say that we will not assist in this. We will take a common stance whether to assist it or not. But whatever the decision we take, we will take it as a group. We convened the acting working committee last night. We didn't discuss it there since a request was not made.
Meanwhile, different views were expressed at the Parliament today as well.
Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka insulted the Supreme Court. Has Ranjan Ramanayaka put forth the stance of the government? Speaker, this is a parliament. Views can be expressed in parliament. Views can be expressed in parliament. I would like to remind that Jayaraj Fernandapulle was fined because of a statement he made in parliament with a correction. The issue is, if anyone uses the freedom to speak in parliament to accuse the parliament, which is considered to be a liberated entity, we should pay our attention to this. That could have been stopped by who chaired. But there is a delay now. If not, bring a special proposal. We'll debate it. Jayaraj was not fined. He was asked to donate to charity. Moreover, there are those who chase the Chief Justice away. You chased her away. MP Ranjan Ramanayaka mentioned names of justices and defamed them. This is not to defame anyone. If there is an accusation, a proper examination can be done. Since 13 justices of the Supreme Court are nominated with your intervention, we request you to mediate and stop a clash taking place between Parliament and Court. I have never challenged either the court nor the law. I never mentioned the names of any justice who is alive. I take the responsibility of every word I have uttered. I don't take anything back. I repeatedly say that thieves are not punished because of the defects in courts and law, and the lawyers save the thieves.
Parliamentarian Venerable Athuraliya Ratanathera says in Parliament that he will not hesitate to obtain the assistance of the joint opposition in order to issue a ban on glyphosate. Nevertheless, the government's attention has been directed towards lifting the ban on glyphosate.
There are 300,000 people suffering with liver disease. We had more than 100 scientists in the country who formed a committee and gave reasons to the president why it was banned. When Mahinda Rajapaksa was president, he took a formal decision on this after holding discussions. Afterwards, the president told the country that he will change it when he comes into power. Then a cabinet paper was presented by Navin Dissanayake and a separate committee was established. Who's in this committee? Rajatha Senaratne and Susil Premajanta. From somewhere, this committee came into being, and nobody really knows how this was formed. And then you have a man from America. Can he take away the ban on glyphosate? Is this your so-called government of good governance?
Cabinet co-spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajatha Senaratne says that 5 provincial councillors are identified to be involved with the recent unrest in several areas of the Kandy district. Responding to questions raised by journalists during the cabinet media briefing today, the minister said that several of them are already in remand custody.
රාජදමතුමා ඔබතුමා කිව්වා ගිය ප්‍රවෘත්ති සාකච්ඡාවේදී අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩල තියෙන දැනුමේදී දිගන සිද්ධිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ටස් අදාළ අය හෙළිදරව් කරනවා කියලා මුස්ලිම් ජනතාවට විරුද්ධව ප්‍රචණ්ඩ ක්‍රියා මෙහෙවපු එකේ නායකයා නැත්තම් ප්‍රධානියා ඉන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවේ කියලා අනිත් පැත්තෙන් චෝදනාවක් එල්ල කරනවා. හරි අමූලික බොරුනේ.
All these are lies. People have given their testimonies to the CID as to who's behind this.
පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්නේ කියලා. නෑ නෑ මේ සිද්ධියට සම්බන්ධ සමාජ වෙබ්පඩේ ඇමතිවරයෙක් නෑ ඒ බොරු කතාවක්. Ravi Karunaayaka මහතා බව පැහැදිලිවම කිව්වා.
Ravi Karunaayaka තියා. It doesn't matter if it's Ravi Karunaayaka or any other Karunaayaka who said it because it's a lie. 314 people have been arrested from the 4th of March to the 18th. it's been revealed that 5 provincial councillors are involved in this. Some of them are remanded while some are under investigation. And then there is a secretary to the parliamentarian who is under investigation. The Police Special Investigation Unit is looking into whether police officers in the area didn't perform their responsibilities properly. Another investigation team is sent to the area to probe further. Although there is criticism against police officers, they did a good job there. 9 persons out of the 10 people arrested, along with Amit Veerasinghe, are residents outside Kandy. Over 50 people out of the 205 arrested within Kandy were from outside. It's clear that a very organized group of people are behind this. Joint opposition is making all these allegations to conceal their own mistakes. We completely refute allegations on Minister Padli Champika Ranawaka as well.
The High Commission of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Prince Zayed bin Zayed Al Hussein, is due to present a report on the accountability of Sri Lanka during the Council's 37th session today. Representing Sri Lanka, Minister of Foreign Affairs Tilak Marapana will present Sri Lanka's stance on the report at the session.
Members of non-governmental organizations expressed views at the 37th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, and Dr. Nalaka Godaheva expressed views representing the Global Sri Lankan Forum.
Since the LTT was defeated in 2009, all Sri Lankans, including Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Burghers and other communities, have joined hands in brotherhood to rebuild a nation that was shattered by a 3-decade-long internal conflict. Most of us in Sri Lanka are not in agreement with the present government, which co-sponsored a UNHRC resolution formulated based on unsubstantiated information. At the most recent local government elections, the majority of the voters expressed dissatisfaction of the policies of the incumbent government, which has betrayed the dignity of the nation and our disciplined armed forces. With a written history of more than 2,600 years, we are quite capable of looking after our own interests and our people. Therefore, we request the International Committee not to support sinister moves to force external solutions on our sovereign nation.
Now, First at 9 is keeping a close watch at the events unfolding at the Council, and when the Foreign Minister begins to speak and address the Council, we will bring that live feed to you. Moving on to other stories we have for you tonight. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that Sri Lanka is now experiencing the adverse effects of co-sponsoring the UN resolution brought against the country. He said this during a swearing-in ceremony of newly elected local authorities members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Newly elected members of the SLPP from various districts including Mathura, Gaul, Badulla and Monragala took oaths today before former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
People are watching you. You have a duty and you must not breach the trust of the people. People don't expect you to use the powers and claim contracts for yourself. That is one of the biggest complaints against us. I remember the President said that I told local authority members to do so without getting caught, and that's false. All members who are elected want positions, and I have received many such letters. I said I will never do that, and it will be done by the party office, and I direct all the letters there. These days the topic is Geneva. We co-sponsored the resolution that was brought against Sri Lanka targeting us. See, now one person had to come back to Sri Lanka just because he pointed to the lion on the uniform. The diaspora is so strong that he had to come back.
President Maithripala Sirisena will leave the island tomorrow on a 3-day official visit to Pakistan and will attend the National Day of Pakistan at the invitation of the country's President Maumoon Hussein. President Sirisena will hold discussions with his Pakistani counterpart, Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi. The head of state will also attend the signing of 4 memoranda of understanding, including youth development between Sri Lanka and Pakistan. During his visit, President Sirisena will also declare open the refurbished International Buddhist Center in the diplomatic enclave in Islamabad. The 4th batch of devotees who won the privilege to take part in the program Dambadiva Vandana, organized by FM Derana, journeyed to the Lankarama temple in Jetavana and paid homage to the sacred tooth relic yesterday, following which they paid homage to the ancient city of Sankasa and moved on to the city of Agra. The 95 devotees are scheduled to go to the Indian capital New Delhi next and visit the President's house and other sites located in the high security zone. The program Dambadiva Vandana, organized by FM Derana, has now entered into its 5th phase.
Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Let's move on to business news now. Department of Census and Statistics announces that the year-on-year inflation based on National Consumer Price Index has declined to 3.2% from 5.4% in January this year. Director General of Census and Statistics, Dr. A.J. Satrasinghe, in a statement says that inflation of 3.2% reported for February 2018 is the lowest inflation reported since April 2016. The statement also said that the reported inflation for the month of February 2018 was mainly due to competitive higher price levels. When compared to month-to-month changes, NCPI in February 2018 has decreased to 123.7 from 125.8 reported in January 2018. This shows a decrease of 2.1 index points, that is 1.7 percentage points in February 2018 as compared to January 2018. Let's take you to the stock markets now. The Sri Lankan shares fell for a third straight session today and posted their lowest close in 8 weeks. The all share price index fell 0.26% to 6,445.97, its lowest close since 24th of January. Now it dropped 0.6% last week in its third straight weekly decline. Let's cross over to Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for a detailed report.
Top 5 gainers of the day were S&P Leasing, Non-Voting, Bearwell Resorts, Ceylon Printers, Samsung International and AIA Insurance. While the top 5 losers were PC Pharma, City Land, Blue Diamonds Non-Voting, Nation Lanka Finance and Radiant Gems.
The Sri Lankan rupee rose slightly today as exporters sold dollars and remittances boosted inflows, while the gains were clapped by imported demand for the US currency in late trade. The rupee, which traded at 155 rupees 90 cents per dollar in early trade, closed at 156 rupees and 5 to 15 cents, recovering slightly from yesterday's close. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies around the world today. As mentioned to you before, let's take you live to Geneva, where the 37th session of the UNHRC is currently underway. We want to take you to the session where Foreign Minister Thilak Marapana is expected to speak.
And in the absence of such a mechanism, we do call on member states to exercise universal jurisdiction. We are also seriously concerned about multiple incidents of intercommunal violence, attack and hate speech against minorities observed throughout last year, a worry further exacerbated by recent developments that have occurred since the drafting of this report, including violence against Muslims in Kandy district that led to a proclamation of a state of emergency for 12 days. Allegations of continuing use of torture and continuing reports of harassment and surveillance of human rights defenders are more than worrying. In light of the gravity of the above matters, and given the important role that this Council has played to date, the High Commissioner strongly advises that this Council should continue to focus its attention on the human rights of the people of Sri Lanka, and in particular on the processes which are human rights based in place for accountability and reconciliation. Excellencies, over several years now, the Special Rapporteur on the promotion of truth, justice, reparation and guarantees of non-recurrence, the remarkable Pablo de Griff, has engaged closely with Sri Lanka, offering a range of support to the country in its transition. As he soon will conclude his mandate, I understand that next you will have the benefit of his wise insights on these important matters, and I wish to note how grateful we are for his leadership in this regard. I thank you very much.
May I now give the floor to Mr. de Graaf?
Thank you very much.
That was a live feed from Geneva with regard to the 37th session of the UNHRC, which is currently underway. We're closely watching as to whether Foreign Minister Thilak Marapana will speak at this event. And as and when he speaks, we will bring that to you, if possible, live. If not, we will keep you updated here on Other Derana as well. Right now, you witness the Special Rapporteur giving her point of view and her oral response to the session, and we will monitor that event very closely. Let's move on to other stories we have for you tonight.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Once again, let's take you to Geneva and to the live session of the 37th session of the UNHRC currently underway.
Resolution 30/1. The appointment of the commissioners for the Office of Missing Persons is a sign of hope that, while coming with questionable delay, is encouraging. I call on all actors to invest in the office, allow it to work in an effective and independent manner with sufficient financial and human resources, the participation of victims and civil society, and effective protection systems and support services for victims and witnesses. Everyone knows, however, that the Office of Missing Persons is only a beginning. Sri Lanka is a country in which all communities have victims generated by cycles of violence that recur approximately every 10 years, confirming what we know well from other countries, namely that unredressed violations significantly increase the likelihood of repeated violence. In a country in which transitional justice has become politicized, it is important to recall that in addition to the intercommunal violence during the conflict, which ended now almost 10 years ago, there are plenty of examples of intra-communal violence, such as the insurrection of 71, the 1987-89 violence, and the LTT violence against members of the Tamil community. All these victims have a right to truth, justice, and reparations. And of course, all of them, the whole...
Well, you were witnessing the live feed, which brought the 37th session of the UNHRC, which is currently underway. And that was the UN Special Rapporteur on Promotion of Truth, Justice, Reparation and Guarantees of Non-Recurrence, Pablo de Graaf. He was the one who was giving his report to the Council. Right now, let's take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Let's move on to international news now. Tear gas has been released in Kosovo's parliament by opposition parliamentarians in a bid to stop a vote on a border demarcation agreement with Montenegro. The Self-Determination Movement Party used 3 tear gas canisters in the assembly building as the vote was due to start today, forcing all politicians to leave the hall. The 120-seat parliament was expected to vote with a 2/3 needed to ratify the 2015 agreement. The movement party claims that the deal would see Kosovo lose 20,000 acres of its territory to its neighbors through experts dispute this. The proposed land deal is a precondition set by the EU in order to give Kosovo the ability to travel freely inside visa-free Schengen area. Montenegro has already approved the deal.
pauzy, 5 minut. 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 5
Myanmar's President Win Kwe resigned with immediate effect today. His office posted a statement on Facebook saying that the decision was taken so he could take a rest from duties. There have been growing concerns in recent months about the 71-year-old's health after he appeared frail at official functions.
Myanmar's civilian president Hitin Chow resigned with immediate effect today, with his office breaking the news on Facebook, saying that the president resigned in order to take rest from the current duties and responsibilities. Hitin Chow was sworn in as president in 2016 after landmark elections which ended decades of military leadership. Hitin Chow, whose post is largely ceremonial, was a close ally of the country's de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi. He was handpicked by the Nobel Peace Prize laureate to become president because the constitution drafted by the country's former junta bars her from the top office. There had been speculation in local media for some months that 71-year-old Hitin Chow was in ill health, but this was denied by officials. The president's office said procedures will be undertaken to fill the president vacancy within 7 working days. Vice President Main Sway, a former general, would act as president until a new president is chosen.
In sports, Trinity College dismissed Nalanda College from the Under-19 two-day tournament quarterfinals, which concluded today at the St. Joseph's grounds. After scoring an excellent 267 in the first innings, the Trinitians took 2 Nalanda wickets for just 21 at the end of the day yesterday. Resuming play today, Nalanda lost 2 more wickets quickly, reeling at 26 for 4 in the morning. Nalanda's star batsman Suhanga Vijayawardena scored a blustering 72 of 61 balls to bring some respectability to the total, but lacked support at the other end. Now Nalanda folded at 151 before lunch, leaving Trinity with a first innings win and advance to the semi-finals. Now here's Manusha with the weather.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Now your temperatures may vary between 21 to 31 degrees Celsius over the next 24 hours. And although it's going to be rather sunny in most parts of the island tomorrow, light rain is forecasted for western and Sabaragamu provinces as well as Putlam, Galle and Mathura districts. But overall fair weather conditions will prevail over most areas of the island. That's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. First at 9 will return tomorrow at the same time. Be sure to join us then. Now before we wrap things up, we like to take you to Allah, surrounded by mountain ranges, making it a famous spot of local and foreign hikers. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.